certainly hope people do have fun this week. This is a wonderful group of people to get to know. And so there should be lots of opportunities.
Guaranteed. But it's a remarkable opportunity. So when someone comes into one of our clinics with a disease that might be of interest to look at genetically.
Now, the way to introduce it, there are various ways to do this, and it depends on the system. So, in C. elegans, where it was first discovered, the way they were doing
So, at the end of this, you'll all have your own opinions, and they'll be well informed. You'll know a lot about stem cells.
Individuals, we can learn some very interesting things about the very highly controversial topic of race. So
they had several nannies, and they were going to replace one of their nannies, so I was on a trial run for a weekend at their house as one of their nannies. Wow. So they paid me, and I hung out with family, and it was really cool.
Didn't make the cut. So a movie made about my life in high school. Oh. And that is you. What kind of a movie?
Who was the one that led her to wrestling?
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, we went around.
That was you.
I did.
Cool.
Are you serious? Yeah.
Oh, Tom Cruise, but I was the first one to recognize him because even he.
Don't worry. You need to get closer, Dan.
Come on, Dan.
And it does this by asymmetrical cell division. If you take a stem cell, it can divide between two cells. One of them will be an exact replica of the stem cell. The other one can be a slightly differentiated cell.
We'll talk about things as we go along. You know, most of us have already interacted with twins. If you know any identical twins, those are in fact clones of one another. You'll also note that if you've interacted with those twins very closely, you'll note that they are very distinguishable from one another from a personality standpoint.
How come we can't have her donor? How can we get him donor? Anyway.
No, we could move it on.
I'll remember the cat, but you can buy it.
I'm curious as to what detail I want them to show on the poster. I mean, do you just want to do Petri dish with arrows, or do you want words? Yeah,
99. And the human cloning bill passed in the U.S. House of Representatives and goes on to the Congress 2002.
They say, hey, you know, that's pretty cool that you're teaching my little brother, my little sister about the stuff that I'm at the university taking a class, and I don't understand. But she was able to come home and explain to our family and talk about it.
To look in the bioethics of human cloning.
But we felt like if it was legal, we should just do it, because it would probably be done in another place, so we might as well get the credit for it.
And the money.
And the money.
And the money.
The hospital slide.
Our solutions were to find out what the exact problem, or cause of the problem was. Do some DNA testing. Is it genetic? Is it
based on incomplete science and overbearing public policy at the time, and led really relatively directly to Nazi philosophy about the purification of the German bloodline and the Holocaust, etc. So, enormous black eye for genetics.
And it's nice if on the table you can have something quiet for them to hold, like a little bouncy ball they can squeeze, or things that people can touch or smell. And as you go through your presentation, if people can use the device.
On the genomic sequencing, we used it for mini preps, getting DNA out of E. coli, and we also use it for a few other processes. And he's going to show you a program that it does.
All right.
He's going to hit go.
Let's start.
And hopefully it will work. You can get close. Reformat program from PCR Products, 96 mil plates, reformatted into a 384 well.
And so what we do, all the work they do sequencing that, we actually come in and we actually try to detect and basically explain why this person has the disease, right? So.
Let's see. Cindy, if this is the liver cell and here are my choice of viruses, what do you think might be a good choice?
It must be the red one.
Red? Oh, let's try that.
Herpes made a lot of people sad, so listen to our ad, cause it ain't so bad. Yeah! Boom! 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 Boom!
I'd like to introduce a young lady by the name of Mary. Mary suffers from hemophilia. Mary.
I don't get to go out and play with my friends. My mom makes me stay inside and watch TV. And
I don't have to worry about getting cut. I can just put a Band-Aid on like everybody else, and I don't have to get shots anymore, and it's great.
Blood clotting problems. They're non-viral, all natural. They're good for any cell type. They're good for ex vivo procedures. They're non-invasive and they're non-allergenic. Check them out under the microscope.
Are the liposomes, the mighty liposomes, we're better suited for making proteins. We'll make you happy with profit soaring. Great results will show in your genes.
Historically, what would happen is to say, well, there's a few responders, but those few responders are not enough. This is where people shake their heads. Those can't make enough money for the big pharmaceutical companies, and so they don't want a drug that treats 6 people. They want a drug that treats everybody, and so it's cast aside and say, go try again, we want one that treats.
Adverse reactions.
We just saw.
I'm pretty committed to be done. So I'm just great. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they are. 1 in 10. 1 in 10.
Possible side effects, I thought, for teenagers, this is interesting. Hair thinning, chapped lips, dry skin, itchy joint muscle pain.
students, you would want to prep them not to share whether or not they're on that drug.
Yeah.
To me, I don't care, but
Yeah. I was in Washington,
It's got pictures of us.
in an elevator like this, we pushed in, and
To give them
somebody's
the
trying to
other
get in
people.
behind me.
The
They
group
said,
getting
take
friendly.
the next one.
And so once we have the clone sets here, what we'll do is we'll purify plasmid out of the clones, and they'll be kept within 96 well plates similar to this, and then we'll put it through a PCR amplification process. Bots. Okay? And so, yeah, that's on one
The work that I'm
slide.
going to describe for you today, we actually did almost 10 years ago now. But it's still one of those really neat stories that people like to look back on as an example of the kinds of questions that you can ask in human population genetics and the sorts of tools that you can apply to answering some pretty interesting questions about how social processes impact on biological variation.
The impact is potentially very direct. Food companies are tremendously interested in bitter taste and are hard at work figuring out how to avoid getting compounds that are bitter in their foods and how to cover them up. As we get older, our sense of bitter taste tends to diminish.
It's so nasty.
Oh, yeah. One thing to notice is that, well, you did give them candy afterwards, right? And we did. We gave them not candy, but apricots. They love apricots, so they got an apricot reward and plenty of good tasting apples afterwards, so they weren't turned off to apples. Yeah. There was
That's her new clothes. She bought last night. She's showing